Ramadan is, of course, a time for deep reflection and devotion, but let's be honest, it can also be really tough on the body. So in this explainer, we're going to move beyond just surviving the fast. We're actually going to build a solid, proactive action plan to help you not just get through the month, but to truly thrive in it.
Does the very thought of those super early mornings and long fasting days kind of make you feel tired before the month has even kicked off? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. So many of us struggle with that initial shock to the system. The brain fog, getting distracted easily, that low energy feeling. It's a really common challenge, and today we are going to tackle it head on.
And this quote, it just nails the whole theme for our explainer. We really need to stop treating Ramadan like this frantic sprint that we crash out of after the first week. Instead, let's start thinking of it like a marathon. Because a marathon requires planning, it requires pacing, and it requires endurance to get all those incredible rewards from the very start to the finish line.
So, just like with any marathon, your success doesn't start when the gun goes off. Nope. It begins weeks before with some really dedicated preparation. So, let's get right into our training plan. Okay, so here's the problem in a nutshell. The moment Ramadan begins, we make these huge, abrupt changes to pretty much everything. Our sleep, what we eat, our entire daily routine. And that sudden shift, it just throws our body for a complete loop, which leads to that exhaustion, that irritability, and that serious lack of focus we all know, especially in that first week.
The very first area we need to prepare is, you could argue, the most important one, our sleep. It is all about mastering your body's internal clock before the month begins. That way, you're not trying to play catch-up when you're already fasting.
And here's a little bit of the science behind why we struggle so much. Our bodies run on something called a circadian rhythm. It's basically a natural, internal 24-hour clock. The sudden switch to waking up super early for suhoor and then staying up later for prayers just throws this rhythm completely out of whack. And that's why we feel so off.
So the solution is to make this change gradual. Don't wait for day one of Ramadan to completely shock your system. Instead, try starting about 1 to 2 weeks beforehand. Each day, just wake up 15 minutes earlier and go to bed 15 minutes earlier. It's such a small, consistent shift, but it's so much easier for your body to adapt to. And that last step, getting some morning sun, is absolutely crucial. It basically signals to your internal clock that, hey, the day has started, and it helps lock in that new schedule. And here's what a practical Ramadan sleep schedule could actually look like. It's not about trying to get 8 straight hours of sleep, because for most of us, that's just impossible. It's about combining different blocks of sleep. So as you can see, you get a solid chunk at night, maybe a short rest after Fajr prayer, and then a really strategic 20-minute power nap in the afternoon. That combination is the key. It can get you to the total amount of sleep you need to actually function well. All right, with our sleep strategy in place, let's talk about fuel. A really important mindset shift for Ramadan is that it's about fasting, not feasting. The real goal is to nourish and reset our body, not to just overload it. And one of the biggest mistakes we make happens right at suhoor. So many of us reach for those easy high-carb options like sugary cereals or plain white toast. And yeah, they give you a quick little burst of energy, but that leads to a massive energy crash and leaves you feeling hungry and sluggish just a few hours into your fast. So the key is to choose foods that give you sustained energy, things like protein, fiber, and healthy fats. We really want to avoid those culprits that cause the energy crashes, right? The sugary cereals, the white bread, all those processed foods. The goal is to pick whole foods that are going to fuel us for the entire day, not just for the first couple of hours. So what does a better suhoor actually look like? Well, it's built on these 4 pillars. You need protein from things like eggs or Greek yogurt to keep you feeling full, fiber from oats or chia seeds for good digestion and that slow energy release, healthy fats from avocado or nuts for satiety, and finally, some slow-releasing carbs, like a wholemeal roti instead of that white bread.
And hey, eating healthy does not have to be boring. A drink like this mango lassi or a berry smoothie is a perfect example. It's super hydrating, it's packed with nutrients, and it honestly feels like a treat, while still being incredibly good for your body.
Okay, we've covered the body and the fuel. Now let's talk about the mind. Ramadan is the absolute perfect time for digital detox, to create that mental space we need to protect our spiritual focus. And the stakes here are really, really high. This slide shows some powerful data. 4 or more hours of daily screen time is linked to a significantly higher likelihood of anxiety and depression. Now think about that in the context of Ramadan. We're already physically taxed from fasting. Adding the mental fatigue from just endless scrolling makes it that much harder to find the energy and focus for what really matters.
So how do we actually do it? Well, here are some simple, practical strategies. Delete the apps from your phone. Don't just rely on willpower. Turn off those constant notifications that are designed to keep your mind overstimulated. And critically, set really clear boundaries, like no screens for an hour before bed, or even keeping the phone out of the bedroom entirely. And if a full month seems like too much, at least prioritize the last 10 nights. But here is the absolute key to making this stick. You have to replace the old habit with a new one. If you just leave this big void where scrolling used to be, you're just going to go right back to it. So plan what you'll do instead. Pick up a physical Qur'an, have a real conversation with your family, or just sit in quiet reflection.
So we've covered sleep, we've covered nutrition, and we've covered focus. Let's pull all of this together now into one clear final action plan.
This slide right here perfectly summarizes the key mindset shifts we've been talking about. We're trying to move from being reactive to being prepared, from feasting to fueling, from mindless scrolling to meaningful reflection. And ultimately, the goal is to shift from just surviving Ramadan to truly thriving in it.
And as you start to implement these changes, just remember this. It is not about being perfect from day one. It's about gradual, consistent improvement. Small, sustainable habits are what lead to real, lasting change. It's a marathon, remember, not a sprint. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Instead of trying to change everything all at once, what is the one habit, just one, that you will focus on building this Ramadan to make it your healthiest and most fulfilling one yet?